field. Beaver's back on the track at the wall. See ya. He's done it again. His 53rd home run.
It's coming around. Shohei golfs one to right center field. Headed for the pool. Splash! 54 his first year with the Dodgers. 54 his second year. Trout swings and that one's going to go! He did it! He did it! Number 400 for Mike Trout! Another entry on the already complete Hall of Fame resume for one of the greatest players in the history of the sport.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Take Me Out to the Video Game, a podcast about baseball video games. Before we get into it today, I do want to say that some of you who are regulars here might notice the rebrand of the channel to Strike 4 Media. If you're curious about that and what it is, a quick rundown is that I've partnered with some really cool people. We've kind of rebranded into a way that it's baseball content done differently. And more about that is going to come in the coming weeks and months. There's an official Strike 4 podcast that's going to be launching in November. You can check that out. We're going to have a ton of information on what Strike 4 Media is and what we're trying to do. The mission here, if you will, about behind what we're trying to do with Strike 4 Media. But as far as Take Me Out to the Video Game, other podcasts that you enjoy here on the channel, they're not really going to change or go away. They're going to continue to do what they do just under this new umbrella. But if you're curious about more about what the new mission is, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the Strike 4 podcast coming in November. But let's get into the content. So I got to be honest with you guys, I've been really positive lately with everything SDS is doing. And I'd like to continue to be so. However, I think today is like the first time in a while I have some really negative takes on the content that we got this last week. I almost contemplated not doing a video this week because of how little of content we got. And I'm like, what is it going to be, a 5-minute video, to cover this content? But the more that I sat with this content and thought about it, the more I'm like, I really don't like the way the content is structured this week. I really don't like some of the things that they did this week. And I think it both exposes a larger issue with the 99 overall structure, and then there's something else that they did this week that I just do not like at all. And we're going to get into that, and that's kind of what prompted me to make this video, to be like, I've been so positive of late with SDS that when this negative stuff comes up that I think is not great for the community, I gotta talk about it. We'll start with September Spotlight Drop 3, which is one of the things I do not have a problem with whatsoever. This is pretty normal, pretty standard. Your moments, your missions. We've had a ton of these this year. You know how they work. It's Jordan Lawler for the Diamondbacks. Really good card here. It's Dominic Canzone for the Mariners. I was actually in Kansas City when he hit the 3 home runs last week. I wasn't at that game. Unfortunately, I was at the game the following day, so I missed that game. I also missed Cal Raleigh's 55-56 by mere days, though I did watch it from a really good barbecue joint in KC. I'll be putting out a video here hopefully next week about my trip down to Kansas City. So again, hit the subscribe button. You want to hear all about that, but I missed that game by a mere day. And then, of course, we have Spencer Steer at the back here. Pretty good card. I don't know that he makes my squad over some of the other first basemen in the game right now, but really cool to see him get a card for what he's been able to do this month. Pack cards, of course, we have Emmett Sheehan, Carter Jensen, Trey Savage, Bryce Eldridge, and Nacho Alvarez Jr. And then we have the postseason pass program, which, to be clear, love the idea, love the sentiment behind it. I just think that when you look at the cards that we got versus the cards that we could have got, it does expose a larger issue within the 99 overall time period, the 99 overall saturations within SDS. And so let's talk about it. First, within the program, you see Garrett Hampson, you see Chris Taylor, Eddie Rosario, and then this Roy Halladay. Now, this Roy Halladay is amazing, right? Like, I really like this Roy Halladay card. I think that this should be, in essence, what this type of program represents. And I think that's where you get to be a little bit of problem when you look at some of these other cards. Now, that's not to take anything away from them. These cards, they're cool cards. They're very playable cards at this point in the power creep and all that. They're very recent cards, which having a couple of them, sure, cool. Like Chris Taylor, Eddie Rosario, Garrett Hampson, very recent cards. Obviously, this one from last year, 2024. And then these other ones were, I believe, this one is 2021 and 2021 as well. So some recent cards, some cool cards. But here's where I look at this and I go, okay, if you didn't oversaturate the 99s the way you do, you could have some cooler cards here. I'm going to go with my Red Sox, just because it's easier to explain this one. So a couple, I want to say 1 or 2 innings ago, we got a David Ortiz 99 Hall of Fame card. Cool, great, awesome, love it. Now, if you don't put that card out there and you save it for this, and we get that 99 David Ortiz 2004 postseason retro card, similar to the Roy Halladay no-hitter postseason retro card. I mean, that to me would be cooler. You could also do similar things with a Randy Johnson card, Chipper Jones cards, any Braves cards. Really, there's some ideas for some really cool retro cards within this program. But because those cards already got their 99s, you're not going to see that. And I think that exposes the problem of the 99 saturation versus not oversaturating the 99s. People are so fascinated for some reason with 99 cards. I don't think there needs to be this many in the game. Okay, like I really don't. And I think that when you oversaturate them, that's when you kind of pigeonhole yourselves into not being able to do some cooler stuff later in the year with content like this. Like I said, this Roy Halladay card, love it. Amazing card. I just wish we could have got more stuff like this within the program. Right? I think that would be really cool, but it is what it is. But some food for thought for next year, SDS, if you're going to continue to do this. Before I continue with the video, I got to talk for a minute about the channel's partner, W Energy, and I know you're probably thinking, oh, another product you're going to shove down our faces because you get a kickback if we buy this shit. And yeah, you're right, I do get a kickback, but I'm not just a peddler of this stuff. All right, I'm a satisfied customer. W Energy is amazing. It's clean. It's burning. It's changing the way that they do energy, just like we're trying to change the way you consume your baseball content here at Strike 4. So it's the perfect partner for the channel because they don't use any sugar. They don't use any artificial colors or dyes. They've been doing it since before it was cool. Recently, there were laws passed in the U.S. where artificial colors and dyes are out. A lot of energy brands like G Fuel have had to rethink and retool. Not because they cared about your well-being, but because they cared about profits. W, they cared about your well-being from day one. They've never used artificial colors or dyes. That's what makes them great. That's what makes them a great partner for the channel. I love it. As a caffeine addict, I've been hooked on these guys for a couple years now. They've really gotten me off of soda, off of the energy drinks, things like that. Today's featured flavor is the Japanese yuza. It's amazing. It's like lemon. It's delicious. It's basically like a Japanese lemonade. And you know me, I love a good lemonade. So that is W Energy. And yes, you can use our promo code STRIKE4 for up to 10% off your order. And yes, we do get a kickback when you use it. But you also get 10% off your order of tubs, shakers, and merch. So it's a win-win. You get something, we get something, the company gets something, and you get to support energy that is clean, burning, and efficient, and baseball content that hits a little different. Now back to the video. Now we get to talk about today's content that I absolutely hate. I hate that this is a thing. I hate that they did this, and I will explain why. I will give you multiple reasons why this is not a good precedent to set for SDS. That is this. They added a live series exchange to exchange live series cards for a 99 overall player card. Why is this bad? Now, I understand. I understand that most people in the game now that have the stubs, that have been playing, that have been working the market, they can probably get this card pretty simply. That's not the point. Okay? The point is with this takes the paywall and makes it fucking real. Okay? Because when you have the other paywalls, for example, the collections, the packs, the things like that, you're at least given a chance to get it outside of spending stubs. You can try your pack luck. You can play the game. You can earn the rewind packs. You can earn the premier packs, the things like that. You have chances to pull the big cards without paying the stubs, the chase packs, things like that. This is the first time that I can think of where they literally said, you want the card, you pay up the stubs, or you put in the real money. There is no chance to pull this card out of a pack. There is no way to grind for this card other than to grind packs upon packs to get the live series stubs, to exchange the live series cards, rather, to exchange with your stubs to buy the cards, to whatever, however you do it. But this is like, again, it's the fact that this is the only way to get this card that worries me. It's not the fact that I can't afford it right now. I could care less. It's not the fact that most people could afford it right now. Again, could care less. It's the precedent that this sets, because when you have cards that are just behind a paywall, there is no other way to get them than exchanging other cards, which is essentially exchanging stubs. Because if you didn't use these cards for exchanges, what would you do? You would flip them for stubs. You would sell them for stubs. Putting something like this in here, where you have to essentially spend stubs to get this cards to exchange for this card, is dangerous. Because that's a true paywall. I think somebody clocked it at, right now it costs around 500,000 stubs to get this, which is that's $300-400 real money if you're going to put money in the game for one card. Now, if you're well off enough to do that, fine. People like me who are broke, that I don't even play the market. I just play the game and have fun. Right? I'm not a person that cares about the stub grind. I just want to play the game and have fun. And I'm going to get the cards that I'm going to get. And chances are I'm never going to have this card, and that's fine. I don't care about having the card. I care about the precedent that it sets. That this is just not a good thing. Because you can't take the chance and grind out a deluxe pack and choose whatever pack this card would be in and get those odds and maybe pull the card. There is one way to get this card, and that is to either buy the cards or exchange the cards that you have, and boom. That is the problem. That is what I hate. Like, I don't hate that it's locked behind a paywall. I don't, I've said this in the past, and I still truly believe this, is that I don't care that the best cards in the game can be locked behind paywalls or grind walls for the best players in the game, right? Like, I know that I'm not going to make World Series and ranked. I have no problem with the people that are getting the best rewards and then being able to sell them for the most profit, so that if someone like me wants that card, I have to buy it. I don't mind that. What I mind here is just that it says, you want this card, pony up the stubs. There's no other way to do it. Pony up the cards, pony up the stubs, just do it. That to me is a scary precedent. That if we accept this, it's and it's not, and I get it. It's one card. It's one card. I understand that, and that's fine. What scares me with this is if enough people buy this card or exchange the live series to do it, which is essentially, again, buying the card, with all of the paywall stuff, with all of the pack-heavy content that we've gotten this year. Now, granted, they've done a fantastic job of, whenever there's a pack released in the shop, there is a way to grind at least one of those packs through a program, so everybody gets the pack at least once everybody has that chance to pull the higher tier card. I do appreciate that. I do respect that. But that can't gloss over the fact that there has been a lot, and I mean a lot, of pay-to-play content this year. It's been a very pack-heavy year, despite the fact that they've done a great job. And I don't want to gloss over the fact they've done a great job of balancing that out with grindable content. There's been a plethora of both pay content and grindable content, and I love that. And that's how it should be. But with the amount of paid content and the fact that a lot of those really good cards are locked behind collections, locked behind packs, where you not only have to grind out the cards that you can, but then you have to either buy the packs or continue grinding to get the packs, to get the cards, to lock into the collections, to get the players. There's been so much of that this year, so much more than any previous year, that something like this scares me, because when you see that structure of, okay, they're really leaning into a paywall, that some of these best cards in the game are locked behind this paywall. If you want, I'm trying to think of one now, it blanks me. If you want Jorge Posada, you either gotta spend the stubs to get Jorge Posada, or you gotta try your pack luck to get the cards to lock in for Jorge Posada. And again, don't mind that precedent. I don't. I think that is actually a really cool thing. I do think, again, we saw a lot of it this year, but when you couple that with then something like this, where there's no cards to lock in other than the exchanges, you just gotta buy the live series cards, you gotta flip for the live series cards, and then you gotta put them through here and exchange them and get the card. The combination of those two things, the pack heavy, the collect heavy content that we've seen this year, and now this, does scare me in a way that I wonder if they're going to move to a lot of pay-to-play content in 26. That honestly does scare me. Now, for someone like me, who, if that happens, I have no problem just grinding the game with the cards that I have and playing franchise, right? So, like, it doesn't affect my playing as much as it would affect somebody who grinds Diamond Dynasty all the time. If you are a Diamond Dynasty only player, this should scare you a little bit, because what this says to me, again, and I realize that right now it's one card, but in the future, in 2026, it could be more. It could be a lot of stuff. Like, could you imagine if next year, I talked about this on the last podcast, WBC is next year again, which means that we could see 99's from the jump again. Could you imagine if there were how Babe Ruth last year, or Carlos Beltran this year, locked behind the live series? That's your day 199. But then all of a sudden they're like, hey, here's 5 more day 199s, and they're locked behind a live series exchange. So now you got to not only do live series the one time to get the live series collection, but you got to do live series maybe another time to exchange for this card. Like, that's the precedent that this is building towards, and that's why this scares me. I just don't like the... And I say that they've done a good job of counteracting it. What they've really done is they've done a good job of masking it. Because for every pay-to-play, pay-to-win, whatever you want to call it, thing they've released this year, they've released accompanying programs and ways to get some free cards and a chance at the big card in a pack. But that can't understate the fact that they're still releasing a ton of pay-to-play content. And they're doing it in a way that masks how much they're doing it. And now they're doing this. And that really scares me for what we could see in 2026. That's all I'm saying. I understand right now it's not that big of a deal, not that big of an issue. It's one fucking card. I get that. it just seems like a prototype for the future, and that worries me a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Well, thank you again for listening to my rant, listening to my worries, my takes on this week. I know, again, a little bit more negative than I'm usually am, a little bit more negativity, if you will, than we're used to seeing on this podcast. But I do a good job, I think, of when they do good stuff, praising them for the good stuff they've done. And I feel like when they do something that worries me, that when they do something that I don't like, even if it might be an unpopular opinion, I've got to voice it, because they watch stuff like this. I don't know if they watch my channel specifically, because I'm a very small market YouTuber compared to some of the other big guys that are doing this circuit, but I do know that they are tuned into what the content creators are saying. They are tuned into what's going on in this space. So I am going to voice my opinion, positive or negative, when I see things like this that I do or don't like. And I feel like that, as someone who has this platform, is what I need to do. I can't just come on here and be a SDS shill every week. When they do good stuff, I absolutely will. I will shine their shoes, I will polish whatever. But when they do stuff like this that I don't agree with and that worries me, you're gonna hear a mouthful about it. And that's what today's podcast was. As always, thank you for supporting the vision. I hope that you'll join us on this new vision of Strike 4 Media. Again, more information on that coming soon. We're really going to be trying to change the way baseball content is not only created but consumed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button, helps me get into the algorithm. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, to stay tuned to all of the great things that we're going to be doing on this channel, not just stuff about baseball video games, but baseball in general. Thank you guys so much. Love you from the bottom of my heart, and I'll see you on the next one.